update with what is going on right now at the moment in Ogun State. Ogun State is one of the states in Nigeria. It's in the western region of Nigeria. Not Ogun State, Ondo State. They are currently having an election. The governorship election in Ondo State. Ondo State is one of the states in the western region of Nigeria. And just like we were saying before we went on break, and we told you within intervals we will always be going off and coming back also to give you updates on what is happening currently in Ondo State. Thank you for the viewers, our viewers that I've seen a lot of people have been following us in the morning, trying to also know what is going on. We are here to bring you the current news in Nigeria. That's why we want you to always subscribe to BHF, because here in BHF Media we bring you news, the truth behind the news of what is happening across the states. We have 36 states in Abuja and 32 states in Nigeria, and Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. So we always bring you the story, the news of what is going on within Nigeria as a nation. And today we are bringing you updates from what is happening currently in Ondo State. We will tell you the truth. We have correspondents on the ground who we get information from. We also relate the same information to you. And before we went on break, remember the last time we were talking about INEC. That one of our prayers in Nigeria today, probably also in Africa, is one of the issues, if I should use that language, we are having is with the electoral system. Most cases, most times, the electoral empires seems biased, seems to be they are under the control of whatever party is in power. So the presidency or the president seems to be in total control of the INEC, or you can call it INEC or whatever name they call it in your state. Here in Africa, we have seen again and again with various results that are coming in that the electoral umpire seems to be favoring those in power, unlike what happened in the US where the Republicans won, even though the Democrats were in power. They didn't just win, they win maximum winning. So that tells you, at least to a large extent, democracy is working in the United States of America. Unlike here in Africa, here in Nigeria particularly, democracy seems to be more of like a joke, because the electoral umpire seems not to be sincere. We have seen it again and again, and I want to always tell ourselves the truth. They seems not to be sincere, and unfortunately, as they say, the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. Of recent, the kind of judgment we've been seeing from various courts in Nigeria, it seems as if the judiciary is becoming also an arm of the executive. They display attitudes that shows that they are being controlled by the executive. Their judgment, their decisions used to be in favor of those in power. And with such things, there's no way you can have stability. There's no way you can have good governance. There's no way you can have true leadership, and the people will enjoy the dividend of democracy if the judiciary that is supposed to be an arm of government, not an arm of the executive. The judiciary is not an arm of the executive. The judiciary is an arm of a democratic government. And so if you begin to have a judiciary that seems to be working directly for the executive, then you are bound to have failure in leadership. And I think that's probably the reason why we are having failure in leadership in Africa, because we have a democracy. The democracy we have in Africa, the executive seems to be in total control of the judiciary, total control of the legislature. So you don't really call it democracy. You call it civilian rule. Most of the countries in Africa, they don't really have functional democracy. What they have is civilian rule. It's just civilian rule. You have a civilian person as president, but also acting as a dictator that decides what happened. And so We also have situations where we even have some state governors who seems not to be interested, even federal government also, who seems not to obey the judgment of the judiciary. So the judiciary, as I said before, have so lowered their standard that even some of the judges think that they are working directly under the presidency. So they are not discharging their duty as co-equal with the executive. I told you, in a democracy we have the executive, the legislature, and also the judiciary. But unfortunately in Africa, the executive is in total control, and the executive decides what happened even within the judiciary, and also decides what happened even among the legislature. So you have legislatures in Nigeria, in Africa, that are under the control of the executive. That's why most times you hear such language as rubber stamp. So you will have those who are the leadership of the legislature, who is an arm of the government. They are just there to rubber stamp whatever the executive brings. You remember the last Senate president we have in Nigeria, the man made it very clearly, and said clearly and publicly that his duty here is just to obey what the president says. That anything that the president brings behind is the father of the nation, and anything that he brings, they are going to sign, they are going to follow, they are going to obey, because he is the president and they see him as a father. But I begin to see such arrant nonsense coming from a sitting president. And that's why you have one of the worst governments, the government that handed over to this very particular government seems to have the title of the worst government. Of recent, about 2 months ago, there was a report that came out that also indicated that Nigeria is among the 11 worst governed countries in the world. And I think that statement was made because of the 8 years of the previous government. The legislature seems not to know what to do, especially the last 4 years. The first 4 years, we have Saraki there, who also try as much as possible to maintain some level of sanity within the governance. But immediately after Saraki left, and the next person came as Senate President, that's one of the reasons why we have all this debt everywhere, because anything the president gives, it goes. And sadly enough, we seem to be following the same trend now, that you don't see where the executive resisting some of the things that the legislature resisting some of the things that the executive does. Whatever the executive does, the legislature, they follow. And that's the sad part of African democracy. And sadly enough, that's why we say good governance will have been decided by the people. But do the people really decide who rules them? That is a $1 million question. Right now we are in Ondo State. The election is going on, and the election started quite early. The INEC officials, at least for the first time, unlike what happened in Edo State, there seems to be an improvement in that direction. The INEC officers in Ondo State, they came earlier, very early. We are having an election, like I said, in Ondo State. Ondo State is a state in southwestern Nigeria, and they are having governorship election today. We have about 36 policemen that are on duty. Ondo State has 18 local governments. We have 18 contestants for that one position of governor, governorship position. We have 18 contestants. We have 18 local governments, and we have 36 police officers on ground. And with the report we'll be receiving from our correspondent on ground, we also have a situation where the DSS, for those listening outside this country, the DSS have been able to arrest some people with bag of money. So no matter how you do it, the politicians are hell-bent on destroying this country. So we have some people that were arrested. The DSS arrested some people with bag of money who brought money to buy election, to buy votes in Ondo State. Like I always say, the issue right now, if I were President Tinubu, I will be battling to save my reputation. It's not about money anymore. I keep telling people, I tell myself, I said, after you get the money, what next? Nobody's going to stay in this life forever. The president already has a lot of money. Even before he became president, he had a lot of money. In fact, he said it himself that he sponsored himself into power. So which means nobody gave him money, nobody borrowed him money. Right from primaries to the level of winning the presidency, it was all funded by President Tinubu himself. So he has the money, and it's not a young man. There might be controversy over the age, but then it's over 70 according to him. And so it's very, very important to understand, at least in the next, we pray we live long. We all want to live long, but whether we like it or not, no matter how rich you are, you have a date where you will leave this world. I mean, Rockefeller was rich. He was the first richest man in the world. He's a billionaire. He was the founder of the National Oil, Standard Oil rather, in America, one of the richest, not just one, he's the richest man on earth, as at that time, and the richest American, Rockefeller. He has so much money. But the time came that he died. He died. There's little that money can do. Money cannot preserve your life forever. It's possible for you to live longer when you are wealthy because you eat good food, you take good medical care. You will be able to sustain yourself with good drugs and the rest. And so money has a way of elongating your life, making you live longer. But money will not make you live forever. I wish our leaders can know this. And if I were President Tinubu, the only thing I will be fighting for right now is the legacy. We keep talking about Nnamdi Azikiwe, we're talking about Tafawa Balewa. I didn't meet those people, but we read them in history. We talk about Amadou Bello, we talk about Okotebo. And these are people that we keep reading about in history. We didn't meet them. Talk about Macaulay. We didn't meet Macaulay, but we read them. We read about them in history. So what I expect this very particular president to do right now is to put his name down in history. It's not about power anymore. You're already president. It's not compulsory that you must win the entire state in Nigeria because you believe that when the states are won, it can easily be used or manipulated to rig the coming election. If that's the purpose, then it's faulty. It is not how long you stay in as president. It's what you are able to do. What you are able to do in 4 years. Our President Tinubu should be able to establish a legacy for himself in 4 years. In 4 years. 4 years is enough to establish a legacy for yourself. Nobody in Nigeria used to buy those stories anymore. When President Buhari came, after 4 years of total failure, they started campaigning and said, let's give him another 4 years so he can complete what he started. I looked at him and I laughed. I looked at what they were saying these things, I just begin to laugh. Because the truth is this, you have started nothing, so what do you want to complete? So at the end of the day, if Buhari has left just in the first 4 terms, his name will still have been written in gold. But he left, he wanted to complete the mandatory 8 years as president. And it's on record, it's known worldwide, that the remaining 4 years of his presidency was just about sleeping around in Aso Rock and sleeping and waking up and sleeping and waking up. He doesn't even know what was happening around him. Anything they bring come in science. That's why we're having so much debt, so much money we are owing. And there's nothing on the ground. And I tell you, such things will never have taken place in the younger days of Buhari. I remember when Buhari came in as a military officer, there was so much discipline. Buhari and his number 2 man, Diago then, they were the one that introduced war against indiscipline. Financial recklessness was not tolerated. The few months he stayed in as president, there was high-level financial discipline. You don't take nonsense. People just walk in and queue. You don't just begin to say they run up and down. You want to overtake. When you come in, you will people queue to enter bus. Because then the fear of Buhari, Diago regime was the beginning of wisdom. And so the Buhari we saw as a military officer was quite different than the Buhari we saw as a civilian president, especially during the second term. Massive looting. Look at what Emefiele did. Massive looting. Under his watch. While he was sleeping in Aso Rock, people were just stealing. Now, they stole so much that they just paid, to the extent that somebody even came in and said he's even tired of money. I mean, talking about one of the oil subsidy guys, and said he's even tired of making money from this oil subsidy. They are just looting the treasury. And I don't want a situation where Tinubu will find himself in the same situation. Even if it's to rule for 4 years, let that 4 years be years that Nigerians will remember for the next 100 years. Let it be years of legacy. Because so far, the only president that is still dear to the heart of Nigerians is President Jonathan. He's the only person that have displayed that attitude of being a Democrat. In fact, President Jonathan and President Yar'Adua, they are the only democratic president that Nigerians have ever had. People who want what is right. People who feel that the blood of Nigerians is not worth their being in that position. People that are prepared to sacrifice their comfort for the general comfort of all. Their names are still written down as the best president that have ever ruled this country. President Goodluck Jonathan and President Yar'Adua. And so there are many things that I believe President Tinubu has to correct. For example, thank God he has corrected the children that were locked for over 100 days. They just locked them there because they were protesting for end bad governance, and they had national flags, the Russian flag and the rest. And I begin to wonder, when is it a crime to have a foreign flag in your land? I saw the protest that was taking place in the UK the other day, and I saw Palestine. It's a protest against Israel and against what Israelis are doing in Gaza. And I saw Palestinian flags everywhere. So people carried Israeli flags everywhere. You know, they carried British flag. And what surprised me, that I also saw Cuban flag. Police were everywhere. You see them, Palestine flag, Cuban flag. They were not arrested. You know, so to say, children were arrested and put, and somebody was even commenting out to say, hey, those young children you see, they have 3 wives. I was ashamed how these kind of people can find themselves in governance and speaking on air, making a mockery of the Nigerian state, the largest the largest concentration of blacks in the world. I don't know how these guys found themselves in the corridor of power, and they are trying to make a mockery of Nigeria. So we pray earnestly that President Tinubu, under his watch, let there be free and fair election. If that is the legacy he can leave behind, people can begin to say, because he will live there one day, that's the truth. People can be able to beat their chest and say, yes, Tinubu is a democratic man. He loves democracy. Because there's nothing to show that we are in a democracy. Nothing to show. The elections that have been held since Tinubu came to power have been very funny elections. Look at very, very funny elections. Elections that will make you weep. Elections that will make you ask yourself, is the president actually in charge? Does he see what is happening? So today's election is on. We pray. So far, so good. The election has been peaceful. People have voted. They have casted their vote. Like I said, 36 policemen are on ground. We have 18 local governments. We have 18 contestants for this election. And we have the polling booths are there. They opened early. The INEC came in early. And so we'll be watching it. We pray that during coalition, it will not be like that of Edo State, where they begin to carry the coalition center from one place to the other, and the sitting governor then was looking for where they were colluding it. You know, there should be a level of transparency. I would expect that we should use the IRF, that people should be able to vote and it will appear in the IRF. What's the point spending so much money in trying to reform our electoral system if we know at the end of the day we are not going to use it? What's the point? It's not about holding power, my brother. It's about name. What name are you leaving behind? They're not getting younger. I mean, when I begin to see people that are over 60, 70 years and begin to live like this, I ask myself, we used to have a saying that a fool at 40 is a fool forever. But it's a tragedy when a fool at 60, a looter at 60, a looter at 70 wants to loot forever. All the money you're looting is to achieve what? You can't live forever. What will people say when you are gone? That you have houses everywhere, you have cars all over Nigeria, you have a house all over this country, you have properties everywhere. And so what? You are not going to live more than one. One day you will leave, they won't bury you in all the cars, they won't bury you in all the houses. All these things you are acquiring is for what? It's for what? A good name is better than riches. If it's not about being hungry, you have more than enough. The governors and the rest. The looting taking place among the governors in this country is amazing. And these are people that have money already. You know, so unfortunately we don't have enough check and balance. The judiciary cannot check them, the judiciary cannot check them. Because those who are supposed to do this check and balance also have issues. Like I said, some of the people we have today in government, they have issues with EFCC. They have issues with EFCC. Unfortunately, they are in government and they are trying to preside over people who have corruption cases. And I begin to laugh because then I just remember the word of Jesus. Let those that are without sin cast the first stone. Is it possible for you to look at all these people in government today, all of them in government today? How many of them can you touch, can you point to and say they've not been involved in corrupt cases? Especially those who have been elected one way or the other since 1999 till now. They have issues, one corrupt case or the other. And you begin to it makes you laugh when it looks as if corruption is trying to fight corruption. How will it work? So we have people who have been involved in one corrupt cases or the other, and they are trying to see how they can fight corruption. I don't know how they will fight it. I don't know the conscience to which they want to use to do it. And so it's a tough situation, but I pray that President Tinubu will be able to leave a legacy for himself by insisting that the right things be done. By insisting that the right things must be done. We will continue to monitor the electoral process. In Ondo State, we'll begin to bring to you, we'll always bring detailed report to you as we begin to get them from our correspondents. We have over 1 million registered voters, in 18 local governments, 18 contestants, 36,000 police officers, 1 million registered voters, 18 local government, 18 contestants. We have the DSS, we have the EFCC and the rest on ground. And we also reported that some people have already been arrested for vote buying because that's why the money they stole, and they want to use the money they stole to see how they can secure another 4 years in government so they can continue the looting. You know, we have INEC officials, they came on time. They arrived on time. This one was wonderful. The accreditation was done on time. The place is peaceful, relatively peaceful. And we are seriously hoping and praying that the collation, because the problem we have in this country is not about the election anymore, it's about the collation. Because it is during the collation that the manipulation takes place. They try to give you the impression that they are doing something reasonable. But when the time for collation comes, that is when fraud takes place. That's when manipulation takes place. That's when cheating takes place. That's when rigging takes place. The rigging is during collation. And so the next thing we want to focus on right now is the collation. Will it be transparent? Why don't we have a transparent election? And I said, if the people allow illegality to take place, they will suffer for it. Because you cannot have good governance in a corrupt vote-buying electoral process. You can't. You can't. You will not get good governance. I just want the people to know, the citizens of Ondo State and all that states to know, that you cannot have good governance in Nigeria except you have a good electoral system. As long as the governors, the president, and the legislature, they feel and they know they have a way to buy their way through and win election, they will not work for you, they will work for themselves. They will only take their job serious when they know that they are accountable to the people. When they know that if they don't perform well, they will be voted out. But we live in a country, in Africa generally, where anyone in government has a way of rigging it. Yeah, they control INEC, they control police, they control army, they control the judiciary. So those in government, they have a way of rigging themselves to remain in power. They rig themselves to remain in power, not because they are performing, no, but because they have the state machinery which they can use to rig the election. The state electoral system is controlled by the states. The state elections and local government and governorship is controlled by the states. You know, and so when the state governor is in charge, he will try to replicate the same things that happen also in the federal system, where most times they will also control this, appoint who is INEC commissioner, they do all the appointing themselves. As long as they appoint the INEC chairman, they appoint the INEC commissioner and the rest. How do you have a free and fair election? Because those that are appointed will work for those that appointed them. That is why we must begin to sit down and, you see, because today is one party, tomorrow it will be another party. Because one of the things I see in Nigeria, as long as the rigging system, the rigging machinery favors your party, you don't see anything wrong with it until another party comes in. So we want a perfect election, and we hope that a perfect election will continue. In Ondo State, we are looking at it. We'll be going on break shortly, but by 3 o'clock again, we'll come back by 3 to give you a new report on what we have found out. You know, we want to say congratulations congratulations to the United States of America for displaying sportsmanship in election. We want to say congratulations to Harris for conceding the losses, congratulating the winner. We want to say congratulations also to the American electoral system for a free and fair election. And like I said earlier in the morning, if the elections in America was conducted by our INEC in Nigeria, there is no way Kamala Harris will not be president. No way. Because the elections here, it is those that are in power that has the power to rig, to remain in power. And if you take the matter to court, you are wasting your money. Because at the end of the day, it is those who are in power that will continue to remain. I want to say that the NJC, the Nigerian Judicial Commission, they seem to be sitting up now. Some judges have been sanctioned and the rest over aging, and I pray that more sanctions should come in, because some of the judges in the judiciary have really disgraced us with their kind of judgment. Look at the judgment in Rivers, the judgment here, very embarrassing. And I pray that the judiciary does not collapse, because as it's always been said, it's a common knowledge that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. And if the judiciary falls and fails, then we move to a banana republic. Because if people cannot get justice in court, they will look for justice in the streets. And so when they go to justice in the street, we'll be going back to the days in America where the mafias were in control. The judiciary must be sound. People must have confidence in the judiciary. So the judiciary must do everything possible to see that they maintain their integrity. Because the survival of Nigeria is in the hands of the judiciary. Once they get it right, the world, Nigeria will get it right. We pray for a sound judiciary. That's our prayer, and we hope we'll get a sound judiciary. So the NJC have suspended 2 judges. Others have been sanctioned for their role in illegality. And we pray that more judges will be sanctioned, especially these ones that they come to collect, give injunction in the night, they see them in the night and begin to give funny injunction, because some money have changed hands. We cannot afford to have a corrupt judiciary. The judiciary must be sound. Must be sound. It's okay. We want to say again, we wish continuous peace in Ondo State. There was peace in the River State local government election. It was a very wonderful election, peaceful. There was no crisis at all. Even though one of the funny judges said the police should not there, the security agent should not go there, but yes, there was no crisis. So it looked as if during the election we don't even need police, because the River State have shown that we don't really need police during the election, because the River State local government election was very peaceful, even without police. It was very, very peaceful, very, very peaceful. So we just pray that the police that find themselves right now in Ondo State will not be the Gunje police, will not be part of those who will be taking bribe and doing all kinds of things, but those who have made up their mind that they want a better country. This country belongs to us. Remember, this country belongs to us, your children, your descendants. It is what will make this country to become, that it will become, that our children will benefit from. People are running out to America, they are running to Europe. These people, their fathers built their nation. We pray that we have political leaders that are willing to build up Nigeria, so that at the end of the day, in no distant time, people will be coming from all over the world that they want to come to Nigeria. The way they rush to America and Europe, that's the same thing, the way they will be rushing to Nigeria. Because we built Nigeria for our great-grandchildren, our descendants, to be proud of. If we want our descendants to be proud, we must start building Nigeria today with the right foundation. We must stand for equity, we must stand for justice, we must stand for peace, we must stand for what is right. INEC, please, we don't fall our hand rich. We pray that this time around, INEC will not fall our hand again. We pray that this time around, INEC will get it right. The electoral system in Nigeria will get it right. We will continue to follow the proceedings. I said in the next 2-3 minutes we are going to go on break. But please, I want you to subscribe to this channel, BHF Movies. Subscribe to this channel, and also press the notification button, share and like, so that anytime we come back on air, you will know that we are back on air. Because we are going to be giving you news about Nigeria on a daily basis. News about our system, our electoral system, our judiciary. Anywhere you are in the world, if you want to know about Nigeria, you hook up to this channel. We will give you the truth about Nigeria. The kind of truth you will not get from the mainstream media, you will get it from us. We will tell you the truth about Nigeria. If you want to visit Nigeria, we will tell you where to go, how to behave yourself. We will tell you the place where you have tourism. If you want a good place where you have tourism in Nigeria, we'll tell you the states where you will enjoy tourism. We'll tell you what you need to do about Nigeria, about Africa. So at the end of the day, you will maximize the benefit of coming down to the African country. Nigeria is the largest African country with a population of over 210 million people and growing and rising per day. We are uneducated, we have a lot of universities and the rest. We are very intelligent. Nigerians are very, very, very intelligent people, very creative, very intelligent. The only problem we have in Nigeria is poor leadership. Poor leadership that are not making the environment conducive for people to bring out their talent. Nigerians are the best anywhere in the world. Anytime they leave this country, they showcase their talent. But once they are here, the talent drops because our leaders, they fall our hand. But we know that very soon, by the grace of God, things will be in order. Until we meet again by 3 o'clock, we'll bring you a new report on Ondo State and situation of things as we get it from our correspondent. Please stay cool. Stay cool. You can visit Nigeria. Go while you are waiting. Please scroll through the channel BHF Movies on YouTube. You will see a lot of movies that are there. A lot of movies. It's a youth organization. It's a youth program. It's a youth channel. You will see a lot of movies to enjoy yourself with. Please subscribe. Watch our movies. Subscribe. And press the notification button so you can always know when we are back on air. We'll meet again in the next 1 hour. Please take good care of yourself.